How much money did I make from my very first AI colouring book? Stay tuned to find out. Recently I published a video looking at how much money I'd made from my first 20 colouring books. Now the response to that was absolutely amazing and it's got over 50,000 views, which is incredible. That one looks at a realistic approach at, how much money you can expect to make, but the outcome was that you're not going to make that much money. Now today we're going to look at my very first book, and from those 20 it was the best selling one. That is this Dinosaurs in Space colouring book. Now the colouring book itself is not perfect. I released it when it just started being possible to make colouring pages using MIDJOURNEY, and so there are some errors in there and the images aren't upscaled, but at the time it was still a really cool colouring book. Now as MIDJOURNEY has developed and people have become more aware of, people with 3 arms and everything, it's not really up there in terms of quality, but it's still a really fun colouring book. So I released this book almost 9 months ago. We're going to go through all of the orders, how much money I made, how much I spent on ads, and then the total profit for this one single AI colouring book. Okay, so let's jump right in. So this book I released on the 15th of November, and straight away it got a few sales in the month. I think what worked quite well here was releasing it just before Christmas, and it kind of taking off a little bit within the Amazon algorithm just to generate a few sales. If we move forward to December, you can see that's where this book really started to take off. Getting 92 orders of my first ever colouring book was really, really exciting. And part of it was definitely because of the Christmas boom. As you can see on this graph, the drop-offs really start around the 21st of December. But before then, I was getting up to sort of 8 or 9 orders a day, which was really exciting. Those orders mostly came from the United States, but I did get some from the UK and a couple from Canada as well. Now, this was my first ever experience of the post-Christmas drop-off. And we went all the way down to 24 sales in January. Still, from one colouring book, that's not bad. And I think what happened is it gained some traction in Amazon because it got some sales in December, and that helped keep it going and keep it ticking along and keep the sales coming in January, even though they're a kind of a lesser amount. We'll skip through to February, which saw 23 orders. In March, there was 20. In April, the sales went down to 14 for the month. I think you can see the post-Christmas gradual slide here. And also by sort of April, better books started coming out using AI images, so the competition was more fierce. May saw 22, so a little bit of a jump. But then June was back down to 12. And finally, moving into July, there was 10 orders. So you can really see from this that the big boost was around Christmas time, sort of the end of November to the 20th of December. And then after that, it started going downhill and downhill and downhill until there's just a few trickling along every month. If we zoom out and take a look at what that actually looks like in terms of a bar chart, it looks like this. So 230 orders in total for this one book. And the December spike was absolutely huge compared to the rest of the months. And now there has been a little bit of drop off during summer. I don't know whether that's because people are outside more, looking less for colouring books, etc. Or it could be, Amazon algorithm not pushing the book as much. It could be it not ranking quite as well for keywords, but we'll see come Christmas time whether that goes up again. The hope is that I would see a nice little spike again come this December. But either way, there have been a few sales trickling along every month, which is always good to see. Okay, so let's have a look at royalties. Now, in the US, it's been priced between $7.99 and $8.99. And in the UK, it's been priced at $7.99, I believe, the whole time. Now, those 230 orders relate to approximately £619.55. Now, it's approximate because of the conversions. The amount that I received in my bank account might be slightly different than this, but it's a good indicator of kind of total royalties. Now, when I started in November, this one single colouring book with really minimal ads, I made £32. Now to me, just from my little colouring book that I'd made, I thought that was quite nice. It's not a lot of money, but it was a nice bit of pocket change. Then when we moved into December and I made over £250 from this one colouring book, you know, I saw the possibility in Amazon KDP, and that's really when I started taking things seriously. However, then we got to the post-Christmas January lull and it dipped back down to £64. Now, one thing to mention is I have had Amazon ads running throughout the lifetime of this book. Right at the beginning, I didn't have any ads. I didn't really know what I was doing at the beginning of November, but I watched a ton of videos. I read up on how to do the Amazon ads. And then towards the end of November, beginning of December, I really started utilizing the Amazon ads platform. So some of these 230 sales are organic, but a fair amount of them will be because of Amazon ads as well. Now, we'll go into Amazon ads in a minute, but in terms of the royalties, you can see here kind of an average month is between £65 all the way down to £22 in July. Now we'll keep monitoring this and we can see if it goes back up as winter approaches and maybe more people are looking into colouring books. But for now, that's the kind of royalties per month that we can expect from this one single colouring book. I have to admit, I do love a good spreadsheet. So I've put all of that information into this spreadsheet here, and we're going to go through the ad spend in each country and see what the profit is by country and what our total profit is as well. Now, starting with the UK, we spent a little bit over £83 on ads. We got 53 sales, made £156. So you can see there's a decent amount of profit in the UK, and it's pretty much for every pound that we spend, we get £2 back in sales. Moving to the US, which is the primary marketplace for this book, you know, it's spelled colouring with an O rather than OU for the UK. We spent £162.70 on ads, and we got £437.53 in sales, which is 167 orders. So the majority of the orders are coming from the US, and that has given us a profit of £274.83. Now that is a really good profit margin for the ad spend. So that is almost for every pound we're spending, we're getting £2.5 to £3 back. Australia, I did a small test where I spent £4 on ads and got 0 sales. So we kind of gave up on that one. Canada worked a little bit better. We spent £20 and got £23 back. So we're pretty much breaking even in Canada, which is why I turned those off and kept those quite low. And then we also got 1 sale organically in Sweden. What I do think that this does show is the more you spend on ads in an area and the better you then rank in the algorithm and within the keywords, the higher the possibility is for you to get those bigger sales. So if we look here, for example, I spent 20 quid in Canada and I got 9 orders. But then in the US, I spent £162 and I got 167 orders. So I really do think that this shows the power of using Amazon ads just to get your book ranked, get some sales, and then also helping to drive organic sales as well. Now, if we're going down to the totals, I had 230 orders of this one book. That brought in around £619.54 in revenue. Taking off the ad spend of almost £270, that means in the 9 months since publishing, this one dinosaur colouring book has made me almost £350. Now, if I could then go ahead and make 10 of these and they be as successful, that's where the possibility really lies with Amazon KDP. Then we're starting to talk about decent money and a decent income. Now, if you've watched my other video, you know it's not quite as simple as that. Some books will sell, some books won't sell. This one was my best selling out of my first 20. Since then, I've released better books, better branded books, ones with better covers, and now I've got a bit of a better understanding with Amazon ads. I feel like I'm going to have even better sales with my newer colouring books. However, what this does show is just what is possible from one single book. Now, this one colouring book hasn't brought in thousands, but in terms of profit, it has brought in £350. Now, it is within a niche such as dinosaurs, so if you were to go broader and do a flowers colouring book, a relaxation colouring book, something that's a bit of a broader, more in demand niche, I think that's where the possibilities for like those big royalties come in. But then on the flip side, you're probably going to have to spend more on ads to get those books ranked and to give the Amazon algorithm a bit of a nudge to get those books selling. Because what can happen if you go into a broad niche which is very competitive, you make a book, you don't spend money using Amazon ads, the likelihood is they're going to get 0 sales and they're just going to flop and you've wasted time and money. Okay, so that's the top level on how much we made on this one single book. But we're going to have a quick dive into our Amazon ads to see what worked and see what didn't work. For this one book, I ran 3 types of ads: a keywords ad, a product ad, and a categories ad. We're going to have a quick look now at how much we spent on each of those and how they performed. Starting first with the categories ad. You can see here that I started them slowly in November, and December is when it really took off. I think that was just because people were searching for this book as a gift around Christmas, and then it kind of tailed off afterwards. But from 309 clicks, we had 27 orders. That's almost 1 in 10 ordering. The cost per click for this categories ad was 28 cents. And that resulted in an ACOS of 35%. That was pretty much break even for this book. It was around 35% was break even. So this categories ad helped sell the books, but it wasn't necessarily profitable by itself. Moving on to the products ad. This one I didn't even start until March. The reason I started this one is sales were low and I was trying to drive additional sales throughout the summer months. But from 135 clicks, it's only got 6 orders. The cost per click is quite decent at 24 cents. But as you can see here, that's almost a 60% ACOS, which just is not profitable. So that's why for the last couple of months for this ad, I've turned the bids right down. And as you can see, the clicks have reduced dramatically because it's a much lower cost per click. Based on this information, I would have to be getting a cost per click of around 12 to 14 cents for it to be break even. So this ad at the moment is just not working well, and I might even turn it off. Next, we move on to the keywords ad. I ran this one straight away and it performed the best out of all 3. From 269 clicks, we got 31 orders, which is better than 1 in 10 people buying the book, maybe closer to 1 in 9 people who click actually going through to purchase. The cost per click was really good for a keyword campaign at 29 cents. And the ACOS for this was 27.64%, which was profitable. And what's amazing about keyword ads over the other 2 is that when you start selling books using a certain keyword, you'll then start ranking for that keyword organically. So whilst I only sold 31 books using this keyword campaign, I might have sold the same again, or if not more, due to organic searches. And so let's have a quick dive into the keywords as well. If you use Amazon ads yourself, this will look very familiar. But if not, the keyword is on the left-hand side. You then put your bid in of what's your max bid for that keyword. And then you've got all of the results on the right-hand side, such as clicks, how much you've spent, how many orders you've got, and how many sales you have as well. What tends to happen with keyword campaigns is when a keyword is performing well, Amazon serves that more, gets more impressions, gets more clicks. So looking here, our top search term, which is dinosaur colouring books for adults, has served over 12,000 impressions and it's got a good ACOS on it. So here's a good little tip for you on the suggested bid. When you first released your book, you might want to start around the suggested bid, but as you start getting clicks and start getting sales, you can bring that bid down. So for mine, for example, I am on 23 cents for that search term and still getting impressions. Okay, as I mentioned, when you sell books using the keywords in ads, there's a likelihood of ranking for that keyword organically in Amazon. Now, I've not been getting that many sales recently using this keyword, but if we go to Amazon.com and search for my best performing keyword, dinosaur colouring book for adults, here are the results. So this is the first page, and as we scroll down, we can see our book is still here on the first page. And so whilst it's not at the top, I'm not pushing this book very hard at the moment. It's not as good quality as my newer books. But the hope is that come Christmas time, there will still be some decent sales to this due to it ranking on the first page. Okay, so there you have it. This one little dinosaur book has made me about £350 in profit. And to me, for a nice little side hustle, that is absolutely amazing. My plan now is to make 20, 30, 40, 50 of these types of books that sell well, and then I've got a decent income stream coming in. Now, that's easier than said than done, but make sure you stick around on the channel to follow along and see how I get on. I hope that you found this video useful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.